Alright, what is up everyone? So today it is the 26th of August and I have officially been sober for 1 month and 2 days. As of the 24th of July, it's the last time I had any kind of alcoholic drinks. Now, I've explained in previous videos how I've had a really bad drinking problem and it's lasted for about 3.5 years. Like, honestly man, I've hit rock bottom a number of times. Like, there was a point where I was pretty much, homeless for a few days. I was just kind of wandering on the streets, not really sure what to do, like sleeping on trains. And there's been a lot of stories of drinking where, I've crashed a car because of drink driving. I went to court for the first and only time in my life because of drinking. I've been to hospital because of it. I've been to a few different mental health units. I've been to detox. Like, it's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened because of drinking, and considering I'm at the 1 month mark, well, a little over 1 month, it's 33 days of being sober. I pretty much want to cover just about everything and how I got to the point where I feel like I have true freedom again. I feel like I have control over my life. So I want to take you guys back to 2019. 2019, the worst year of my life by far. And I'll explain what happened during that year and why it became the worst year of my life. And a heavy reason of that is because of drinking. Also, the weather's pretty bad here. It's like starting to rain a bit. There's a bit of rain going on, but that's fine. So why was 2019 the worst year of my life? Well, the first few months of 2019 weren't bad. I guess it was the start of my drinking addiction. So from like January to March I was drinking pretty heavily. Now, April of 2019, that's when things started to get pretty bad. So in April of 2019, I went to court for the first and only time in my life, and I had an AVO against me for 9 months, I believe it was. Now, basically what happened was, there was one night where I was really intoxicated. Like, I don't really remember much of it. And there was a close family member out the backyard with me, and we were just arguing for about 15-20 minutes, and it got to the point, man, where I was that fed up and I had that much to drink. I had a pair of scissors in my hand. I held them close to this person's face, as for whatever reason, a kind of threat for them to stop, arguing with me. I just wanted to be left alone. And so the police were called, and then after a few hours, the police caught up with me, and I had to spend a few hours in a police station, and I had to go to court because of that. So a few days after that incident, it's like, I had to go to court later that month. Like, it was already a pretty bad start to the month, But then, by that point, I drove a few times. In April, I managed to get my provisional license, which means, I'm able to drive by myself. I don't need driving lessons. I don't need a driving instructor at that point. And pretty much what happened was, I drove a few times, and it wasn't a smart idea. And I'd say about the 4th or 5th time of drink driving, I remember I was turning a corner, and I turned the corner too fast. And as I was going around this corner, I was probably doing about 40-50 kilometers. That's like, 25 miles per hour or something, 20 miles per hour. In like American units, I guess. Like metric system or whatever it is. The point was, I was going around that corner pretty fast, and shortly after that corner, there was a car parked around the corner. And I was going, 40-50 k's, boom, straight into the vehicle. So I crashed my car really badly, and I damaged someone else's vehicle. So by this point I just panicked, I floored it, and I arrived home 30 minutes later. Next day the police showed up and they pretty much told me like I have to pay off this person's like car, get it all fixed. And it has been all paid off by now. But the thing is, like, it was only a matter of days after that. It was only a matter of days after the incident that led me to court and what would eventually be an AVO put against me. So I went to court later that month and I had the AVO put against me. The close family member close to me, like I couldn't be within a certain distance of them for 9 months. So yeah, 2019 wasn't a great start of the year. Like April was when things really went downhill. Now let's fast forward to June or July of that year. I'd say it'd be around July from what I can remember. There was one time I was really desperate to drink. And keep in mind by this point, like, I drank so much during this time that I would be at our backyard constantly just like yelling and screaming because I had problems with myself and I was angry with the world, and just being really intoxicated seemed to really enhance these emotions I was feeling. So there'd be a lot of times I'd be at our backyard just yelling, screaming, punching walls. Like, it's pretty childish, but you know, I was in a really bad place at the time. So yeah, I was doing that for quite a few months, and then I'd say when July rolls around, rolled around of 2019, I remember one time I was really desperate to drink, but I didn't really have much money. I couldn't really afford anything to drink, so I remember at our house we had hand sanitizer, right? And I remember reading on the bottle, it was like 80% alcohol, 90% alcohol. And you can kind of see where this is going. So this led me to the phase where I was drinking hand sanitizer and then eventually mouthwash. Like, I'm not even kidding, man. Like, literally for over a year, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I was drinking hand sanitizer and then eventually mouthwash. And I was doing that a lot, man, just to save money and for the points where I couldn't buy wine, I couldn't buy beers. So the first time it happened was really scary. The next thing I remember after having a few squirts of this hand sanitizer was, it was a really big bottle, and I woke up a few hours later and about half the bottle was gone, right? But the scary part was, I believe it was my right wrist or my left wrist. It's like all over my wrist at the time. There was blood everywhere. There was blood everywhere on my right wrist, my right hand. And there was a lot of blood all over the walls. So what happened, right? So from what I was told a few hours later when my parents got back when I woke up, that so our door has like a glass panel on it. And pretty much what happened was I punched it out of anger and it broke the glass panel. And my wrists were cut up really bad. There was blood all over my wrists. There was blood all over the walls. Now the scary thing about that is your wrist, that's where a lot of your veins are. And they're very close to the skin, like only a few centimeters away from the skin, or like an inch away from the skin. And so when you have a bunch of glass cutting your wrist, it's very easy for that glass to, you know, cut a vein or multiple veins. And you know, obviously your veins are connected to like your arteries, your heart. So I was very fortunate I didn't cut any of my wrists, but say if I was to cut a vein or two, that could have potentially led to going to hospital and potentially even dying. And being in that state of mind, and the fact that my parents didn't show up for a few hours after that, if I was to cut even just one vein, sorry, I keep calling them wrists. If I was to cut one vein on my wrist, being in that state of mind and being a few hours since my parents would arrive home, I honestly have a feeling I probably would have died. Like, I'm not even kidding. I felt like I probably would have bled out, not have been able conscious enough to ring the ambulance, and I honestly believe that would have been the end of me. So yeah, July wasn't a good month for me either. Only a few months after crashing a car, going to court, holding a pair of scissors up to a close family member's face. So yeah, and just a lot of times I would be drinking heavily, just yelling and swearing at like 10 p.m, midnight, 2 in the morning at our backyard, having the neighbors ring the police on me countless times, having my parents ring the police on me countless times. So that happened for quite a few months after April, and then obviously the incident with July, where I could have possibly died or ended up in the hospital if I was, not as lucky as I was to not cut a vein or two. So pretty much after July, it began the phase where for about a year and a half after that to 2 years, I was drinking hand sanitizer, and then some point during 2019 after that, I also discovered that mouthwash had alcohol in it, right? And you know what that led to? It led to me a number of times drinking bottles of mouthwash because, again, just pure desperation. I was severely addicted to drinking. It just made me feel really good. It made me ignore my problems instead of working on myself, trying to fix my problems, trying to live a better life. I'm just very much neglecting my health, putting very dangerous chemicals into my system, and all just to feel good, all just to get that high I was chasing, all to get that good feeling I was chasing. It's absolutely no different than someone doing a hard drug and chasing that hard drug and chasing that high. Like, I was a drug addict, man. Alcohol does the same thing any drug does. It alters your brain, it alters your brain chemistry, it makes you feel different, makes you feel good. And so I was obviously like a drug addict and alcoholic for a long time by this point. So yeah, after putting these dangerous chemicals into my system, drinking this really revolting stuff, hand sanitizer, mouthwash, which I was doing for a long time after that. So November of 2019 happened. I just drank a lot of hand sanitizer, and I remember waking up in the hospital the next day, and I spent a day or two in hospital, and then I went back home, and yeah, it also led to the point where I went to hospital, and obviously that's not good. Like, I pretty much gave myself alcohol poisoning. So yeah, that's the story of 2019, why it was the worst year of my life. Just so much bad stuff happened, me hitting rock bottom, me being completely controlled by a drug, being completely controlled by this certain substance, and I just wanted to feel good, man. I just wanted to feel happy. So yeah, that concludes 2019. Now 2020 to 2021, it was just more or less the same kind of thing, really, except it wasn't as bad. So during 2020, I got this job where I was cleaning and sanitizing cars. So basically, like, the whole pandemic happened in 2020, and this particular company I was working for at the time, they were doing a nationwide sanitization program. So what I would do is there would be cars that would arrive in like the warehouse we were working at. So it'd be all kind of different cars, and we'd have to clean these cars, and we'd have to sanitize the seats, the seat belts, the inside of the doors, like just pretty much give it a good like car detail, a good car cleaning. Now during this point, this was one of the worst jobs I could have got, because the job we had there would be boxes of hand sanitizer that came in these tubes, and you know, our boss didn't mind if we took some of these tubes of hand sanitizer home because we had such a large supply and they needed to go. So me working 3 days a week at this point, what I would do is about an hour before my shift would end for the day, what I would do is I'd grab a few tubes of these hand sanitizers, and then about 30 minutes before I'd finish work for the day, this warehouse we're working in had a pretty large bathroom, but only one person can go in it at a time. So what I would do is I would have the genius idea that about 30 minutes before I'd finish work, I would have these tubes of hand sanitizer in my bag, and I would have a towel and some clothes, and like, you know, me and a few of the co-workers, like, we'd sometimes like have showers there because like they also had a shower inside this bathroom. So I remember just after a long day of work, I would, towards the end of the day, I would go pretend I was having a shower, have a sports drink in my bag, as well as these tubes of hand sanitizer. And what I would do is I'd go for about 1 or 2 tubes of hand sanitizer and then drink a lot of the sports drink to mask the smell, mask the, you know, taste of the hand sanitizer. So I remember I was doing that for about 8 months until I lost my job towards the middle of 2021. So yeah, 2020, 2021, it was more or less just drinking a lot, just being controlled by this thing, and, you know, me having a job, but I would still abuse hand sanitizer because, you know, our job had a lot of it and we were allowed to take some of it home. So I did that for about 7 months, right? So I did that for about 7 months, just drinking this poison, putting these dangerous chemicals in my system, as well as mouthwash whenever I do that, you know. And like, there'd be days outside of work where I'd drink hand sanitizer and mouthwash because of desperation. It was cheaper, it was easier for me to get. So no matter how revolting a hand sanitizer or mouthwash tasted, it was like, I was that addicted, you know. I just wanted to feel good, feel happy, you know. And like I said, I did that for about 1.5 years. So 2021, I lost my job. Like, a few people got laid off just because, you know, the pandemic was being controlled better. Like, there were less shifts, there were less cars coming through, so they had to lay off a few people. Me being one of the newer people, I was one of them. So I lost my job like mid-2021. And so the rest of 2021 was just more or less drinking a lot. I was starting to slowly get a better grip of it, but still causing incidences. So 2022, that's when I started to go downhill again. Like, the start of the year, like, I want to say like the 5th of January, maybe the 7th of January. By this point, I got a number of warnings off my mother that if I was to keep on drinking, if I didn't get help, I didn't fix myself, she would kick me out of the house. And then after a little while, towards the start of January 2022, I got kicked out of the house and I had nowhere to go. So during this point, I decided I would try and get a loan, and I got a loan for over $1,000. It was quite a bit over $1,000 of a loan that I got. So pretty much I didn't know what to do at this point. I managed to get this extra money to help me at the time. And basically what I was doing for the first like 4 days, I was staying at this hotel, and then pretty much all my free time would be just drinking myself, you know, just drinking myself, going to bars, and gambling my money away, just not at all just being sensible or anything. You know, just completely wasting my money, just being completely boozed, just drinking myself completely out of it. So basically what happened after I stayed at the hotel for 4 days was, I remember I woke up the next day, like after going out, and pretty much I woke up in someone's house. It's a bit scary, but I woke up in someone's house, and you know, it turns out that I was in housing commission, which housing commission in Australia, it's basically the cheapest kind of living you can do. Like, they're typically like large apartments that are very, very cheap. Like, you know, pretty much anyone can afford to live there. Now, this isn't the kind of place you typically want to live. It gets a really bad reputation for good reason. You're pretty much surrounded by people that do heavy drugs. They're heavy drinkers. There's typically a lot of violence, like the police are called pretty often. And so I had to spend 3 days in this situation. I just remember waking up and the person told me like I was really out of it, I didn't have anywhere to go, and they just kind of offered to like help me out for a bit. And you know, I must agree to it, like being that out of it, and you know, just being that out of it and just agreeing that this person would help me. And yeah, I just woke up in their house the next day. And I won't really go into too much detail about it because it's a really bad point in my life I want to completely forget, but pretty much I spent like 3 days in housing commission. Yeah, thankfully like nothing happened. Like, there wasn't really any major incidences that happened. Like, I mean, like after I left, like I did get punched in the face a few times, like my nose was bleeding. There was just like a bit of a dispute I had, but whatever, it's like long and done with. So I pretty much just got out of there. It was a good idea that I did. It was, you know, not a good place just to be around. It was not ideal at all. So pretty much after that, there were 2 days where I was pretty much living on the streets. And what I would do pretty much is just like go to the city, just walk around, just sightsee and do what I could to pass the time. I pretty much had no money at this point, so I was just waiting for the next 2 days until I got paid. So I just had to like blast it out for 2 days. So yeah, like I said, those 2 days I was just like sightseeing, looking around, just doing what I could do to pass the time. And then pretty much what I would do for sleep, so I obviously didn't want to sleep on the side of the streets, I didn't want to sleep outside, so what I done for those 2 days was I would catch long train rides really late at night, like 11 PM midnight, around that time. So I would take these long train rides just so I could sleep, just so I'd have shelter, and so I wasn't like just sleeping in the streets or whatever. And then so basically I was pretty much homeless for 2 days, right? Like I didn't have somewhere I could go, somewhere I could stay. And then pretty much I was admitted to a mental health unit after those 2 days. And I spent 20 days there, and this was the point where my life started to change around. So after being in the mental health unit for about 15 days, I was able to get in contact with my mum, and she said like I could return back to the house. I could return back to the house because I wasn't drinking, I was getting help from it. And so I would say that mental health unit did really help change me. It really did help me get back on track. So what happened after that was I went back home. Now at this point, drinking still was a thing, but I wasn't doing it as much. Like I probably had hand sanitizer like probably a handful of times, but the times I would drink, it would mostly be beers and wine. But I was limiting the amount I was drinking. I was limiting how often I was drinking. So I wasn't really causing any real incidences. Like, since I got home from a mental health facility towards the start of February, I didn't cause one incident. I didn't cause any problems whatsoever. The times I would drink would be a lot more controlled. So I'd say at this point I was really starting to get a grip with my life. And so pretty much what happened was after that, so May of 2022, I went to detox for a week. And it was really nice. Like, you know, I still went to detox just because I knew drinking was still a thing in my life, and I knew that it was very unhealthy. And I wanted to get to the point where I was not drinking anything anymore. So I went to detox for about a week, and it was really nice. I was talking to some of the people, like about half of the people there were because of drinking, so I didn't feel like I was alone. I got to hear like their stories and what they'd been through, and it was really nice. And so after I went to detox, the same day I went to a different mental health facility, and I spent over a month there, and it was more or less just kind of the same thing, like people going through similar situations I was going through. And it was really nice. The staff were really respectful, they were really nice. The food was really good. The people there were really great. So I had a really good time at this mental health unit. So we'll roll back to the 13th of July. So we're getting really close to the point where I'm at now. So I left the mental health facility, the second one I went to, from the 13th of July up until the 24th of July. So in the span of 11 days, I drank 3 times. One of those times I drank, I went through a bottle of vodka and a bottle of red wine. But again, like, because I had such a high tolerance at that point, I didn't really feel that intoxicated. And all I was doing was watching YouTube and listening to a bit of music. So even though it was a lot to drink, I didn't really cause any incidences. And then we roll along to the 24th of July. I decided at this point that I'm gonna drink one more time just to celebrate it, and then I'm done entirely after that. So I drank on the 24th of July, and I had this idea for a few days prior to that, but when I would reach the day where I wanted to stop, I would make a YouTube channel where the main purpose of the channel was to make videos about drinking and wanting to stop and change my life for the better. And since the 26th of July, I made a video on the 25th of July of day 1 no drinking, but because I was really busy that day, I couldn't upload it until the 26th, the day after. So 1 month ago, I posted my first video of day 1 no drinking. It's still up on the channel if you want to watch, I'll have it linked below. But pretty much I decided that every single day I would make a video on not drinking, and just having that commitment that each day, that even if I felt temptations, like, no, I had to make a video that day of not drinking and have a purpose and just have a commitment where each day I would not drink. And it worked out great for me. The 15 days in a row, the first 15 days, I posted a video every day where I would talk about my progress and my journey of no drinking. And in the majority of those videos, I was also doing exercises in the video, just to also help, like, doing exercise was great. It helped keep my, like, mind intact. It helped, like, with addiction and temptations. And so after day 15, I done a video every 5 days. So day 20 no drinking, day 25 no drinking, and here we are, a little over a month of not drinking, and I'm finally at the point where I feel like I have true freedom and I have true control of my life again. After over 3 years of addiction, over 3 years of being held down and gripped down by the vices of addiction, I feel like I'm finally free in my life, and I feel like I have control over my life. And honestly, man, I'm just so happy at this point. Like, I look forward to each day. Like, I'm just happy each day. It just feels good that I can wake up each day, not have to repeat the same cycle of drinking myself, just boozing myself, and not doing this terrible thing to myself anymore. And honestly, I'm just saving money and living a better life by doing it. Like, even right now I'm recording this, like, there's a bunch of rain going on, but I'm just in such a good mood, and I'm so happy, man, that the rain's not even bothering me. So here I am. I'm a little over 1 month sober. It is the longest streak I've had since 2018. I believe from 2019 up until this point, I have not gone one entire month without drinking. Even when I was in the second mental health unit for over a month, I did drink a few times. With that facility, they would let us like go outside and explore the city. They would just give us like a time limit to do it. So I did drink a few times while I was in that mental health unit, so this is the longest streak I've had in 4 years, and honestly, I don't feel like drinking anymore. I just feel like living a better life, setting bigger goals for myself, and achieving the things I want to achieve. So this has been my story, my journey of addiction, and how I overcame it. How something completely ruined my life, and in the end I managed to overcome it. I'm honestly really grateful that I'm not injured. I'm really grateful that I'm not dead. I'm really grateful that I haven't caused permanent damage. Like, I've got a recent blood test and my liver, my kidneys are all good somehow, despite heavy drinking for a few years and despite putting dangerous chemicals in my system. My health is good for the most part, which is obviously good. So I'm just really grateful of all that. So I'm currently 33 days sober, and I'm living a better life. And I have new goals that I want to set for myself, and I want to strive for an even better life. Start doing things I really want to do in life. So I'm going to end off the video there. Hopefully this video turned out well. There was a lot of recording, just a lot of walking back and forth, just a lot of words I wanted to get off my chest, but yeah, hopefully this video turned out good, and yeah, I'm going to conclude it here. So if you guys enjoyed this video in any way, or you found it informative or helpful or anything, consider giving it a like, and also consider subscribing if you like the stuff that I make. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think it's a realistic goal that I can do. But yeah, just one quick side note. So now that I've hit my main goal of 1 month no drinking, I still want to do additional videos on no drinking, but maybe like every 10 or 15 days. So like day 40, day 45, in like 2 months. I could do videos here and there, just to like see how long I can truly keep on going. The ultimate goal is to go 1 entire year without drinking, which I think I can do if I really set myself to it. But I do have new ideas for videos and content I want to make for this channel, so be on the lookout for new stuff I want to make. There's some new ideas I want to explore with, so alrighty, I'm going to end this off. Still going strong with the no drinking, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. And just before I end off this video, I'll show you guys some nice scenery around. So look at this, you got the river around, got trees, forest, nature around. It's good stuff. Alright, take care everyone. I love you guys, and I want you guys to do the best you can in life. Alright, I'm gonna end off, so adios. See you guys in the next one. Bye for now.
冷了，冰雪不能言。